Hi Pierre.
Hi.
Welcome. Thanks for chatting to us today. Would you like to tell us a bit how you got started as a comedian?
It's the same way I got started with the Fringe, it's all as a student. I first came up and did a 2-week run of a sort of mad play or something at 2010, so a long time ago now.
Wow, yeah.
And that was my first year of uni, and then I'd just never seen anything like it. And I was doing like student gigs and stuff as a stand-up for like in my spare time. So yeah, same thing at the same time really, both very linked.
So you were an early comedian, from a young age?
I started doing it when I was 18.
Okay.
You know, I wasn't a funny person at school
until
I was 16.
Was it kind of like, what was that discovery like for you, kind of figuring out your humor?
Yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons I liked doing it. It was figuring out if the stuff that I thought was funny in my own head was actually funny out loud.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was internal to external.
Externalizing your humor.
And the first like trial runs, how did that go?
Or good enough to keep going.
Good, yeah.
And the deal I made was that if it was crap, I wouldn't do it again, and I'd just focus on being a normal person who contributes to society.
Yeah, well, comics contribute.
Sometimes.
So your first experience is kind of gigging and with like student comedy at the Fringe. How does that feel to now come back and you've been here so many years and got so big now?
I think, well, I've never not done it actually. The only year I had off was the COVID year.
So it's like a reflex.
And maybe that's not the best way of doing the Fringes every year, but I've done it. Yeah, so it feels, I mean, I've lived in Edinburgh for over a year of Fringes.
Right, what, cumulatively? Right,
yeah.
Cool. Developing that material kind of every year.
Yeah.
How does that go for you? How do you kind of develop each year your piece?
It's final exams for comedians, really. I don't know if I would have written a new hour of comedy every year if I didn't have to.
Right.
It's good motivation. Most comedians will start doing a couple of work in progress gigs in November, October even, the year before, and then work on that all the way through till August. And they'll do gigs that are sort of hour-long trial runs of the show called works in progress or previews. And I will generally do between 20 and 25 previews across the year leading up to the Fringe. So functionally I've done a Fringe's worth of shows in practice before the real thing even starts.
Wow, so it really structures your like entire year
it's
of
like
work.
Being a farmer.
Yeah.
It's harvest time now.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, you just have to plant, and then you do this, and then you do the whips, and yeah, your year is like an academic year, and these are the exams. It's that same kind of weird scheduling that you get with those two jobs. Or
that's amazing to hear. And so, I guess with that, why Edinburgh? Like, why kind of does it all lead up to this every year?
Well, it used to be. When I started doing it, it was very different to what it is now. It's changed a lot, especially post-COVID. Physically, it's nowhere near as busy on the street.
Right.
And flyering doesn't work as well anymore.
Interesting, okay.
For example. It used to be that the sort of... So a good comparison would be Montreal Just for Laughs, which is a much more like corporate business festival of comedy, really. It's only run by TV channels and producers. It's not this big fun... it's not the same as the Fringe at all. But it used to be in like the 80s, say. You'd go to Montreal as an American stand-up, you do your perfect 7 minutes, and then they'd get a sitcom deal.
Okay.
In the Fringe, it would be you'd show up with your hour-long show of stand-up, you'd do good stand-up, you'd get on any number of the huge number of comedy shows available to you. Mock the Week, Live at the Apollo, Michael McIntyre's Comedy Roadshow. You know, just 8 out of 10 cats, like just this, remember back when there were like 30 panel shows? It was barely time for the news.
Yeah.
And the Fringe would get you access to that. And
I see.
I remember talking to Gary Delaney, and he said back then, 2014, 15, if you're on Mock the Week twice in a year, you can tour. That's it, done. And if you can tour, you've got an income. As long as you keep driving around the country doing your tour.
So you're saying that kind of structure is now different? Gone. Okay, gone.
The only show that has stand-up on it on TV, on terrestrial TV, is Live at the Apollo. There is no other avenue for stand-up. Comedy Central does do little bits of stand-up shows, but they're sort of clip shows where you're doing a 7-minute routine and it's 11 people, or it's not quite the same. No one buys DVDs. You remember back when at Christmas and birthday it was just a DVD swapping festival essentially?
Of course. Yeah.
But they were $19.99, weren't they? Pounds. That's 20 quid. They cost maybe 20p to make. and half of that's going to the artist. So you don't need to sell that many DVDs to make a hell of a lot of money. So that market collapsed in 2015.
Right. And so since then, do you think it's kind of moving towards this like clip-based digital format? And how's that for you?
It's a big adjustment because I'd been training myself for this old world that is not there anymore.
Right.
I was working with bronze, and that was the Iron Age. You know.
Yeah.
So you have to adjust quite sharply. And if I'd started a podcast when I first wanted to, it would have been 2012, so I would have been ahead of the game. But it did take a while. But now the way you make money and keep yourself alive long enough to maybe get a sitcom deal or write that book or write that film. Right. Your dream is to write the amazing novel. Your dream is to make the film about the blah blah.
Of course.
But you need to feed yourself up until the point where you have enough cultural capital to achieve that. Sure. How do you feed yourself? It used to be the circuit if you're a stand-up. Comedy clubs, Friday, Saturday night, stag do's, hen do's. Gigs. The wages for those, with a few honourable exceptions, have not gone up since 2002. A gig that paid 100 quid in 2002 pays 100 quid now.
Wow.
So when I look at comedians up and coming, like they're in their early 20s, if you say to them, hey, yeah, you'll never be free on a weekend, you'll miss all your friends' birthdays, you'll miss all your friends' weddings, you'll lose touch with all your uni friends who have normal jobs, but at least you get no money and have to travel to and from Leicester and Devon constantly. They say, well, why would I? The selling point was the money.
Yeah.
Because it would keep you alive long enough for you to climb.
Yeah. That's
gone now. So the way you make money is the cumulative ad revenue of YouTube hits, having a podcast, getting loads of Instagram followers and being paid whatever it is you get paid to pose with some lipstick.
Yeah.
Whatever. But it has to be digital.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's not really many ways to make any money in the way that there was.
And so, like, kind of harnessing that digital landscape, you said you would have done a podcast sooner.
Yeah, I couldn't quite get it together. Back then, it was a bit harder to do. There wasn't quite the same like wide range of very, very cheap equipment to get.
Yeah.
And it was a bit more of a faff to get the sound quality right and blah blah.
But now, are you kind of like up and running? Yeah.
Plug and play. Oh, I'm on 3.
Great.
3 podcasts.
Yeah.
3 podcasts. Yeah, and social media also means that stuff like flyering at the Fringe doesn't work as much. It used to be that people would show up to the Fringe for a few days. And now they've planned their entire 10-hour visit because they're booked in everyone who they already know from Instagram.
True.
They're sniping shows one by one. They're not just wandering about, wasting their own time, because they have to get the last train back out of Edinburgh because it's too expensive to stay overnight. I've noticed that half my crowd now is day trippers from the north of England, Glasgow, regional kind of train in, train out stuff. The only people who stay overnight are rich enough to afford it or young and strong enough to deal with a hostel.
Yeah.
That middle of like, we're a couple who's 30.
Yeah.
They're pretty much gone. They used to be the majority, and now they're like 10% of the crowd.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And do you think, like...
Overnight, I mean.
With flyering and that kind of on-the-ground promo going digital, do you think that, like, opens up space for a new way of creatively getting people in? Yes, but the mistake people make is they say, oh, but if it's on the internet, then it's a kind of lovely kind of anarchist commune free-for-all. Right. It's not, though, because the algorithm is controlled by a private company that seeks to maximize ad revenue. Yeah. So unless you are maximizing ad revenue friendly, you won't go viral or you're unlikely to. So it's actually just populism done by a robot, as opposed to, hey, it's all crazy and everyone does what they want and we all get the same exposure or blah, blah, blah. So functionally, the algorithm, back when it was cruder, or maybe there wasn't this idea that it's how you make money, it was a bit more democratic, and now it's basically just a kind of a version of reality TV that lets a few really interesting people through the net if they're really, really funny. Yeah. But it's hard to crack it. Some people nail it, and I have friends who nail it, and they've got that kind of mind. I'm not very good at that at all. I think something I've noticed at the Fringe this year is this, as you're saying, like really close relationship between like comedy and the algorithm, and it seems to love jokes. And you're kind of saying that's not something I guess my question is, how is that for you, kind of like using the algorithm to your advantage? I do not write in a very friendly way for clipping, because if you don't have something that hooks people in, the way that it all counts views, it's like there's the sticky sort of first 20 seconds,
and then there's clips that are completed, and both have their value. And it depends what you count as a view. Some platforms don't count a view until it's at least 10 seconds, say.
Right.
So that's why you see people starting a video often by doing something odd, like an odd physical task.
Yeah.
Like unscrewing the head off a rubber chicken or something. You go, what's this about?
No.
The length of time it takes you to go, what? Is enough time for it to count as a view and get boosted by the algorithm.
Yeah.
So I'm out here writing analog 5-minute stand-up routines.
Yeah. I still think there's like a kind of footfall culture where people are kind of like, oh, if they got my attention on the street, then maybe I'll go and see the show. But I see what you mean, that it's
I've had a few audience members like that.
Yeah.
But when I came up in 2010, the guy directing the show had already done in 2010 like 7 Fringes.
Right.
I watched him on his own with flyers on the Royal Mile sell out a 150 capacity show in 3 hours with just flyers. I don't know if that's possible anymore.
Do your shows kind of like develop over the course of the Fringe, or are you like, this is it, it's done?
They become honed.
Cool.
But if you, given what I've said about how many months of prep you do in advance, if you're at the point where you're chopping out a whole routine of 6 minutes and replacing it, something has gone wrong. Or you're a topical comedian.
Right.
So
you're
if
responding to what's going on.
Yes, yeah. So if you suddenly change prime ministers the month before the Fringe, you can only imagine the amount of hair pulling and note burning that has to go on if you're a topical guy. Yeah.
Audiences here, how are you finding the reaction?
Good, yeah, it's good. I mean, but I'm consistent. I get people who say, we see you every year, and I'm in the same venue at the same time for the last 3 years in a row. So that kind of physical consistency or time consistency is very useful for getting a returning crowd.
So for someone who's new to the Fringe, who's coming up for the first time as a punter, what are your tips, like 3 top tips for them to get the most out of it?
Try and see one thing from every category.
Good.
Don't just sit in the comedy or the drama section or whatever. It's nice to mix it up. And there's so many different sections. I mean, you can see like South Korean clowns, Brazilian acrobats, a Glaswegian stand-up, and then a play from rural Ireland that's got a transfer here from some crazy organization that's paid for it to come here. You can really have a wide range of interesting, try and vary it. Yeah, vary it. And look, if you're just obsessed with stand-up and that's all you want to see and you know who you want to see, fine. But try and throw in one curveball there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I always think it's a good thing to remember that one show leads to another. You'll go to one and in the venue you'll see, oh, I should go to that one.
Yes, yeah. And allow an extra 5 minutes for how slowly people shuffle out of each venue.
Vary that. So true.
At least 5, let's say 10.
And shuffle around the city as well.
Yes, yeah. It's hillier than you think. Yeah.
Likewise, for someone who is bringing a show here or thinking about bringing a show here, kind of I guess, taking into account everything you've said, what's your tip for them?
Figure out what it is that you want, long in advance. Why are you coming? Because if you just sort of feel like maybe it's going to be very hard. If you're doing the whole month, it's going to be very hard to keep your motivation up if you're not really sure why you're there. If you're coming up because you want to get a show ready to tour, or you want to do a sort of scratch night thing for 30 days in a row or 26 days, great, but focus on that and then do the work every day and so on. If you're coming up into the play and you just want to make some money out of the play, then focus on organizing PR, flyers, digital advertising. Lots of mail outs to reviewers and things in advance. And if you do it yourself, not through a PR, sometimes they can have a kind of slightly fringy appeal. They'll be sympathetic. But it's all about knowing what you want. Whereas if you come up and you think, oh, I'll take whatever, that's not targeting. It's too long and expensive and difficult a thing to do as an artist to not have a plan. It's not the early 90s or the 80s or 70s where you could show up and just kind of figure things out. It's too expensive for that.
Yeah.
A bad student flat bedroom is $3,000 for the month. You shouldn't spend $3,000 without a plan. Without a plan, you wouldn't go on holiday for $3,000 without a plan. What you're going to do?
And day to day, what's some advice, kind of on the ground?
Go see other stuff that's the same as what you're trying to do. It will give you an idea of where you are in the world of that genre. Do see other things just out of interest, but it's the only time where everyone who does what you're trying to do is in one place. And you can learn a lot from watching and talking to those people, make connections. Like, enjoy yourself, but if you enjoy yourself at the expense of the show, then why are you there? You could just be visiting.
Yeah.
So there's a level at which you need to kind of keep a lid on it.
Keep
Unless
the
your
show.
show's crazy and it doesn't matter, and then fine.
Yeah.
Depends how people work. The number of shows in the comedy section pre-COVID was getting to 1,900. I think now this year it's nudging 1,800. It's 1,800 people who also do comedy at the same level as you, and you could go see all of their shows, or as many of them as you can. Like, that's the thing that we always complain about as well is if you're coming up here with a show and you're already at a certain level, you might be saying, why? You know, why should I come up here when all the producers and important people who I want to see my show already live in London like I do, say? Or I could just, why don't I go do a gig in London even though I'm based in Manchester or Glasgow even? This is the watching festival for the producers. They could come see your show in London, especially because they live in London. They won't. They have their home life, they have their kids, they have their job, they're tired, they live across town from you and from the venue. They don't want to. They get an allocated week or two a year to come and do the looking at things, and this is where it happens.
Yeah.
It could be unreasonable, it could be unfair, but it is true.
Yeah, and I guess it's like taking advantage of the chance to see like the top of your game,
Yes.
like what everyone's bringing to the table.
Exactly, yeah. And people who you won't be able to see on TV because there's no stand-up on TV and there's no DVD. So if you don't see the show live, it's unlikely that you're going to see it unless they put it on YouTube. And that could take a year.
So I hear a lot from comics that Edinburgh is like a nice kind of reunion every year because
Yes.
you don't really cross over on tour or in home cities with other comics.
Yeah.
How's that for you? Do you like see a lot of friendly faces every year?
Yes, it used to, when I was a bit younger, it was just everyone. I knew everyone. Now it's not as many, but it's definitely the only time where if you get to the point where like, you're on tour on your own, you're no longer in a green room of a comedy club with 7 other comedians,
Right.
which is where you used to see people. And even if you are in that green room, if you're headlining, by definition, everyone else in the room is a different level to you because you're the headliner.
Yeah.
So if your friends are also headliners, by definition, you'll never be working together, or you shouldn't be. So yeah, it is really nice, just to see everyone. But it's not as busy for me in that sense. I think the prime time is maybe in your mid to late 20s.
Right. Okay.
But I see quite a few, over the month.
Yeah. To finish off, we do a bit of a like quicker round. What's your favorite meal you've eaten since being in Edinburgh?
Ooh, at home, like a home cooked meal that my sister made.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever seen at any Fringe, any year?
Every year the lady with the world record for the number of piercings in her face is around.
Yes.
But then I guess that's not weird anymore because I've seen that for over a decade. If anything, that's the most consistently normal part of the Fringe.
Yeah, she's just part of the furniture. She's great.
Someone built a sort of horrifying robot out of cardboard that was sort of walking up and down the Fringe trying to fly for a kid's show, and kids were just terrified of it.
What's, I guess you've said, but weirdest flying technique you've seen?
The first time I was up in Edinburgh, we were doing a play based around pirates, and we had a wooden treasure chest, and we would climb in and just fly out with just a hand coming out of the box. That was quite good. That was useful.
Favorite karaoke song to sing?
Karaoke song? I can't sing.
If you were forced, what would you go for?
Country Roads. There you go.
Nice.
Fine. Yeah.
People please it.
People will forgive the low quality of singing because they'll be singing.
It's a crowd pleaser.
It'll hide your bad singing.
Nice. Favorite city to perform in?
Bristol.
Bristol,
Yeah.
really?
100%.
I want to ask why, but it's quick round, so we won't do that.
It's full of gigs, full of music, full of students. Everyone who likes music at a high level likes comedy at a high level because they're used to active listening and choice of words. So music fans are comedy fans.
Yeah.
Almost always.
Love that. Least favorite city to perform in?
Hull.
Okay,
Yeah.
straight away.
Yeah.
Nice.
They don't like me at Hull.
Favorite joke you've heard at the Fringe so far?
Any of Johnny White really.
Okay.
He's a genius. I think he's the best.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Shout out.
Yeah.
Following on from that, do you want to shout out 3 Fringe performers who you think deserve a shout out?
Well, it's shout out friends of mine.
Yeah, go for it.
Glenn Moore,
enemies, friends.
Glenn Moore, who's I do a podcast with. Alex Keeley, who's coming up, who's a very very good friend of mine, and Johnny White, really, who
there you go.
I'm friends with. But Johnny White really is here the whole month doing a full show, and he's just great. If you like, he's the closest thing stand-up gets to magical realism.
Whoa, okay.
And if that sentence makes any sense to you, you should go see it.
Nice. Yeah, okay.
That's my shout out.
Just a quick one. What 3 words would you use to describe the Fringe?
The Fringe? Busy, long, important.
Okay. All right, well, thank you so much for talking to us.
My pleasure.
It's been really fun. Good luck with the rest of your run, and yeah, have a great
Thank
have
you.
a great Fringe.